Don't do that. Hi besties and welcome back to my channel. It has been a few months since I've done one of these book haul videos, but that just means more time for me to accumulate books, for them to work their way onto my shelves, and that is why it's a little bit empty over here, because I have acquired quite a few new books. So I think I have like 31 new books. Some of them you guys have seen before because I've read a couple of them, and some of them you haven't, and one in particular I'm very excited to talk about. It's a big step for me, or not even, but it's a different genre and I'm really excited about it and I can't wait to talk about it. I don't really know what it's about, but I'm so excited. Anyway, if you guys do enjoy this video, please don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe, because I would love to have you here. And now, without further ado, let's get into my little book haul. So the first book, where am I gonna start? The first book I'm gonna show you is a book that does not describe my reading taste whatsoever. As you can tell from my background, lots of romance going on. But the first book I have for you is a special edition of The Murder at the Vicarage by Agatha Christie. I acquired this book in like a late November. I went to New Zealand to visit my mum's side of the family, and we went on a little trip, a little day trip to Mrs. Blackwell's bookshop in Greytown, and I couldn't resist. I have never read any Agatha Christie. I've never read anything like her, I don't think. I believe she's like a mystery author. But I fell in love with so many of these special edition covers that I needed to bring one home. So I ended up bringing this one home because I don't know, I like this aspect of it, and I really like the like silhouette, and just I love the art style on this cover, so she had to come home with me. I do still really want to do a video where I read this book and like try and figure out the mystery as I'm going. But yeah, I bought this one purely because it's pretty. It was a very selfish investment, but she's beautiful, so. The next book we have here is the one that I'm like really excited to read. I'm kind of scared, but I'm also very excited. This is Maeve Fly by C.J. Leede. Maeve Fly is a horror book. I believe it won an award of some description last year. I think I saw Sarah without an H read it in one of her vlogs. I don't know, she read it and it sounded very unhinged. There's a few books in this haul that I bought purely because I wanted an unhinged heroine, and I think this one fits the bill pretty perfectly. It's based on American Psycho. I've never read that book, but I've heard some graphic things about it. But it basically just says the last sentence of the synopsis is a bolder, bloodier one inspired by the pages of American Psycho. Step aside, Patrick Bateman, it's Maeve's turn with the knife. I usually support women's wrongs. I'm very intrigued to try this book. I think it'll be interesting. I don't know that I'm fully prepared for it, but I'm excited nonetheless. I've never read anything like it, and I will probably vlog my experience in some way or another, because how can I not? How can I not? I am a big fan of dark romance though, and I would love books that have a little bit of a gorier detail, so it's gonna be interesting reading that one. Speaking of dark romance, this next one kind of fits the bill, kind of doesn't. This is Butcher and Blackbird by Bryn Weaver. This is a dark romantic comedy. I did not think I was going to read this book for the longest time because rom-coms and me, we don't really get along. I just find them a little bit too cringy. However, the dark aspect of this was certainly intriguing. I would say Butcher and Blackbird has kind of been the book talk and now bookstagram darling for quite a while. A lot of people have been absolutely obsessed with it. I know Heather here on YouTube loves this book as well. It's like her favorite book ever, and I very much trust her opinion. So I took the little leap. I'm ready to dip my toe in. I'm just like crossing all my fingers and toes that it's not cringy. I'm pretty sure it follows two serial killers who, do they kill other serial killers? I feel like they might do that, but they have like the police chief in their pocket or something, and then they like come together, and there's accidental cannibalism, and there's something to do with cookies and cream ice cream. You will notice a running theme in this video that I don't know what half of these books are about. The cover is just really cute as well, so like I'm like, oh, I'm scared of you because you're a rom-com. I should be scared because it's literally about murderers, but no, I'm scared because it's a rom-com. This next book is one that I kind of told myself another one that I was never gonna read, but what's my reasoning for wanting to read it? I've got no idea. I originally bought this book because I want to do a video at some stage where I read booktubers' favorite books, and I know both Sarah and Destiny I think love this one, and that is of course Daisy Jones and the Sixth. I bought Malibu Rising like a couple months ago. I bought it because it was set in the 70s and I was like, oh my god, that sounds really fun. Then I gifted it at Christmas to someone else. I just like unhauled and gave away a bunch of my books. I didn't think I was gonna read a Taylor Jenkins Reid book. However, I'm just very intrigued by the formatting of Daisy Jones and the Six, as well as the this one just being set in the 70s and 80s. I think that's such a fun time period. I really want to experience it through books. And yeah, just the fact that it follows a band, and I very much like my music, so I think it's gonna be fun experiencing this book and listening to the Aurora album for the first time. I think that's gonna be very, very fun. This next book is the last of our different genres for a little bit. This is The Book of Cold Cases by Simone St. James. One of my good friends on Instagram actually bought this one for me. She bought it for me after I finished The Housemaid by Frida McFadden, and I was having my little thriller era. Have I read another thriller since? No. I'm excited to read this one. I believe it follows a hotel receptionist, and she like gets caught up in a little bit of a mystery. Oh my god, it's set in the 70s. Okay, cool. Oh no, it's set in 2017. Oh, is this gonna be like kind of paranormal? Wait, they're talking about a little girl just like popping up and things moving. Okay, this just like shot up on my TBR. I'm so down for the paranormal right now. Well, maybe not right now. Maybe like soon. I don't know. I've been watching like paranormal shit on TikTok and it's put me in a little bit of a funky mood, but I'm excited to read that one nonetheless. Moving on to the romance portion of this haul, we have Unsteady by Peyton Corinne. A lot of you guys have probably seen this one in like so many of my TBR videos, but I still have not read it. I have tried reading it. I've read the first like chapter or two, and I don't know, it's just not hooked me. I've just been in such a funky mood the past few months anyway. Like it takes me so long to get into a book. Like I need to read the first like 100 pages before I'm actually invested. This one does sound good though. I know it has a lot of mental health representation. Even just like in the first couple of chapters, I believe one of the characters has a panic attack and they use kind of music to cope with it and like work through it with each other, and I really like that aspect. It is a hockey romance, and I believe she's a figure skater, so like they share the ice. It's forced proximity. They're both trying to better themselves and like escape kind of crappy situations, and yeah, it sounds really good in theory. I'm not obsessed with the writing, but I do need to sit down and just like try and push through and like actually get invested in the book, because I know a lot of people really love it. This next book, I don't want to show you the cover because there's a shirtless man on it, but we're gonna do it anyway. This is Cruel Prince by A. Jade. This is the first book in her Royal Hearts Academy series. This is essentially a bunch of bully romances set in high school, this entire series, and I don't know what I was thinking when I ordered this book, because I don't like high school romances and I don't like bully romance. I think what I was thinking is that I love A. Jade and I loved the words by her, so I was like being delusional, and I was like, I can move past my prior opinions for her, and honestly I think I probably still can. I will get to this book eventually. Do I want to read it right now? No, but it's on my shelf, so when the opportunity arises, when the feeling strikes, I can pick it up. I do really want to, I do really want to experience AJ's writing again. Maybe I'll read the duet that goes along with the words by her. I think that might be a better place to start, but I'll get to this one eventually. This next book, oh my god, this is the first book in this haul that I read. How fun. I didn't like it though. So there's that. This next book is Deviant Hearts by Jagger Cole. This is a mafia romance. I bought it on Moshe Mary's recommendation. She loved it. She likened it to Cora Riley's mafia romance, which is my favorite ever. I love it so much. However, maybe I've changed as a person, or maybe this book just wasn't that good. I will admit Cora's Mafia is some of the first romance that I ever read, which was an interesting place to start. I really wanted to find another series like it. I've been on the hunt for a long time, and when Mary likened Deviant Hearts by Jagger Cole to that series, I jumped on it. But it was a little bit of a letdown. I really appreciated that the female heroine in this book was strong and she was brave, because so often in mafia romances that is just not the case, and I really appreciated that she actually gave some pushback to the hero and was just like firm in her beliefs and her morals, and she was cool. I liked her. However, I didn't love the like just constant sexualization that was happening in this book. Like the only thing the two main characters could think about, I swear, was sex and just like getting it on and like finding each other hot, which is fine, but it just felt like there was no emotional development, and I don't know, I didn't really enjoy that. I need emotional development in my books, and this one just didn't have that for me. However, I will say the plot and like the action was fun. Jagger is very good at making it like a fast moving, entertaining story. Next up, we have a book by one of my favorite authors. This is Watch Your Mouth by Candy Steiner. I've also tried reading this book quite a few times. I don't know why, but so many books I pick up, read a couple of chapters, and then just forget that I started them or like don't want to continue them right now. Watch Your Mouth is unfortunately one of those, but this one is a brother's best friend road trip romance. I think the thing that is like making me apprehensive is the fact that it's a road trip romance. I have read I think 2. One of them was okay, the other one I absolutely despised, so I'm like, oh no, I've read 3. 2 of them I didn't like, the third one was okay, so I'm like, I don't know if I want to read this book, but I will because I desperately want to get to Daddy P's book, which is the next one in this series, so I'll get there eventually. I swear for every single one of these books I'm gonna say that I will get to them eventually, and I will. The next book I have is Hopeless by Elsie Silver. This one I bought when it came out simply because I loved Flawless and I loved Heartless. Powerless is actually one of the road trip books that I didn't like. I didn't really enjoy that one. It just felt very like 0 to 100 insta love, like no feelings, lay it on art. But I have read a little bit of Reckless. I've read like the first little chunk up until the point where they have the one night stand. I think I've read that much. It was good. I'm looking forward to reading more of it and reading Theo and Winter's banter. I think that is going to be a standout of this book, of that book. I'm very, very excited to read it. And I also am very excited for Bo and Bailey. Is her name Bailey? I believe it's Bo and Bailey, and they have like a huge, I don't like age gap. I feel like Bo will be like not the typical predatory kind of older man in the relationship. We'll see. But I also think it's like fake dating for a little bit. And I have faith that the Eden men are not going to be creeps to Bailey. So I have faith that Elsie will be able to handle it well. And I am very excited to read about a little bit of a like traumatized military hero. Yeah, I'm excited to read this one. The next book I have for you is another mafia romance. And this book in particular I didn't love, but this series I very much enjoy. So we have Connor by A. Zapparelli. I've read Row and Reaper in this series and I really enjoyed both of them. I think they're a really good, just like formulaic mafia romance. They're quick reads, they're fun, they're entertaining, action-packed, spicy, but like also with a little bit of emotional relationship development. And in those first 2 books, Connor is like the young, naive rookie, and when I saw him in those books, I was like, oh boy, I am so excited for your book. However, I don't know what events conspired between those first 2 books and this one, because there's a few books that I skipped over, which my fault, probably shouldn't have done. Connor has turned into this like very hardened mafia man where I was hoping he would still be a little bit of a sweetie pie, still hold on to some of that naivety while also being like a good mafia dude. Also very short, so I felt like there wasn't a lot of opportunity for kind of development in the romance, and it's also single parent, single mom. I did enjoy that relationship, but I don't know, overall I think it was just a little bit of a letdown. The next couple of books I have for you are by another one of my favorite authors, Miss Devaney Perry. I really love her Eden series, so of course I had to round out my collection of the Edens. Christmas in Quincy is like the prequel novella to the entire series, but I read it like after I'd read the first 5 books, and it didn't really change anything for me. This one I think I gave a 3.5 star. It was fine. It was a little bit boring. It didn't really add anything to the town. I think it has like a little bit of a history element, but even then it was like not particularly necessary. Then The Edens, a legacy story. This follows Harrison and Anne, who are the parents of the siblings in this book, and I loved this novella so much. It was like 30 pages at best, maybe 40. Devaney was so good at like communicating their entire story in such a short period of time and like really establishing their relationship, especially for being a second chance romance. It was believable. Let's just say that. I really enjoyed it. I had such a good time with it. I think I gave this one like a 4 or 5 star even, maybe. It was really cool seeing kind of like where Harrison and Anne started, and yeah, it was just nice actually getting to know them a little bit better as characters and not just as parents. And the third Devaney Perry book, I do have another one in that stack over there, but she's at the bottom, so I'm not getting her out. But the next Devaney book I have is Sable Peak by her. This is the last book of the Eden series. I gave this one a 5 star, I think. It wasn't like my favorite romance of the entire story, but it was just such a fantastic like ending to the series, and I really enjoyed watching them all come back together and just kind of watch the next generation grow up and be born, and just it was very fun. I really enjoyed it. And Mateo Eden, the things I would do for that man. Okay, and we're gonna move on to the second stack. The next book up here I have for you is Weekside by S.J. Silvers. I read this book this month. Shock horror, me reading a book Since when? This one I was a little bit actually apprehensive at first. I couldn't really get into it until sort of the 70-page mark. Whether that was my book slump talking or if that was this book's fault, I'm not quite sure. It did have a few sort of like misogynistic undertones at the beginning. I'm not entirely sure if that was on purpose. It very much could have been, because it is a college hockey romance with like egotistical men and men in power and like in principal positions and coaching positions and things like that. So I'm not sure if that was intentional, but it did kind of turn me a little bit off of the book at the beginning, but it did get a lot better. I'm not excusing that either, by the way. Like, I'm still like, it was just a few like little comments that sort of rubbed me the wrong way a little bit, just by like teammates and some of the men in power, not necessarily by our main male character. And yeah, as I said, after the sort of 50 to 70 page mark, I fell in love with this book. I gave it a 4.5 star. If that little like hiccup sort of like rough period at the beginning of the book wasn't there, I probably would have given it a 5 star, and that's a bold statement. I've genuinely been having so many 5 stars at the beginning of this year, and I don't know if that's because I'm just reading a lot of good books or if it's because of my like threshold is lowered. I don't know, but this one was fantastic. I had a really good time with it. It gives very much off-campus kind of vibes with the college hockey kind of thing, and the story kicks off with our female main character Claire and our male main character Theo being forced to share a dorm room because there was a little bit of a mix-up with Claire's name. And to begin with, Theo is incredibly rude, not considerate whatsoever. He's a little bit of a dickhead. He's very much a stereotypical jock. However, this man does indeed have some character development, and I'm not going to go too much into the story because I don't want to spoil it for you, because I had a really good time kind of discovering this and learning about it organically. But there is a bit of fake dating, and sort of the transition from fake dating to real dating was so like the tension and just like the angst and the drama. I was living for it. I had such a good time. I ate this book up in like 3 days after I got over that hump of the first little 70 pages, because it was just so addictive and like so good. This next book is another book that I gave 5 stars recently. I think I read it in like December, and I have talked your ear off on multiple occasions about this book, so I'm going to try and go through it a little bit quickly. This is The Graham Effect by Elle Kennedy. Just the nostalgia that this book holds, it hits so hard. The nostalgia of coming back to Briar University and seeing Garrett Graham and seeing Logan and like knowing that that's Garrett's daughter, and then like the family interactions and dynamics. And Luke Ryder, that man, I would marry that man in an instant. Oh, he is just a bit of me. He is like so mysterious and bad boy, but also like so fine and so thoughtful, and just like, he's the ideal book boyfriend. And if you've not read The Graham Effect yet, I would very much encourage you to do so. This next book is another one that I bought on my little like murderous girly rampage, feminine rage, I want a serial killing girly, I support women's wrongs kind of vibes. I was really just craving a book like that at the time that I bought these 3 books. And this third one is Black Sheep by Alexa Harlow and Bryn Weaver. Oh my god. So Bryn Weaver was involved in writing this book and also wrote Butcher and Blackbird. Oh, that's so interesting. I didn't even realize that. Okay. Anyway, this one I believe is about, is it another 2 serial killers? It honestly could be. See, I want my feminine rage in this book, because one of the like first paragraphs is she's reserved, polite, charming when she wants to be, but delve a little deeper, she's cunning, brilliant, ruthless. Why am I doing this? Rawr. Ew. Brea Brooks is not just a black sheep, she's a wolf. And she has her heart set on a very elusive prize. Ooh. This is another 2 serial killers on the hunt for another guy. Is this like almost the exact same plot as Butcher and Blackbird? Well, at least if oh my god, we have a content warning page. Let's go through it. Black Sheep is a dark romance with morally grey characters, as well as potentially troubling scenes and themes that some readers may find triggering. Potentially triggering content is religious trauma, references to drug abuse, parental neglect, physical and emotional abuse / manipulation, no sexual abuse, abuse suffered as a child from an authority figure, references to an intended marriage between a minor and a young adult which is not consummated and no sexual contact occurs, physical violence, torture and murder, claustrophobia, panic attacks and undiagnosed PTSD. That might be a little bit of a trigger for me, but it's fine. We will give it a go. Explicit language, detailed sexual content. There is some consensual non-consent. roleplay. This book sounds like it's gonna be really spicy. I didn't read the trigger warnings before buying this book, which was very stupid of me. So there is one thing that could be a little bit triggering. You know, what better way to face it than in a book? I think it should probably be okay. I have like one very specific trigger that is never listed in trigger warnings, so I think it should be fine. We should be good. I'll probably just find it relatable. Anyway, let's not go into that talk right now. The next books I have for you is actually a series. Speaking of triggering books, these 5 books are the Nashville Neighbourhood series by Nikki Sloan. I am feral because this book got a new cover literally yesterday, and I have the old one, which not my favorite, but I actually started this series out with The Frat Boy by Nikki Sloan. Loved this book, gave it like a 4.5 stars, obsessed, and I decided I needed to read the rest of the series. I have read The Doctor by Nikki. I read this one at like the start of February. It was fine. It was just like an age gap that was a little bit uncomfortable. As I said earlier, I don't love age gaps, but for some reason I still keep trying to read them. I also didn't love the hero. I didn't love this book. It was fine. There was a very triggering moment in it for me, which is not like a trigger that other people experience, so it's very difficult to watch out for. I am definitely going to continue the series. The one I am most excited for is The Good Girl by her. This is Brother's Best Friend, I think. It's like Brother's Best Friend, classic good girl, typical bad boy. I think there's like spicy lessons, which is one of my absolute favorite tropes. This book has not received the best reviews, but I'm so excited for it. I will take you through all of the books in the series. So we have The Doctor by Nikki, then we have The Pool Boy, then we have The Architect, then we have The Frat Boy, then we have The Good Girl, which I obviously talked about before, but oh, I'm so excited for this one. The next 2 books I have for you are both shorter books. One of them is a novella and one of them's like a little Christmas book, because I was desperate to boost my Goodreads reading goal last year. So the first one I have for you is New Year's Day by Monica Murphy. This is a little kind of a bridging novella between first gen Lancasters and second gen Lancasters. So it was just like a fun, cute little short catch up with all the characters kind of a book. And I've just realized this book up here probably wasn't in my last haul either. This is The Christmas Blanket by Kennedy Steiner. One of my lovely friends on Goodreads on Instagram bought this one for me as well. She gifted me The Book of Cold Cases, this one, and another book later in this, which she's so lovely. I love her so much. This one was fun. I think I gave it like a 4-star. It was just like very short, very sweet, a little bit emotional. It was just sort of a rekindling of a second chance romance, and yeah, it was pretty good. The other little Christmas book that I have is Merry Mischief List by Hayley Dickett. This one surprised me. I ended up giving this book like a 4.5 star. It was really good. I actually very much enjoyed it. I really quite enjoyed Hayley's writing as well. So it follows Andy and Porter. So Andy is a college cheerleader and Porter is like the coach of the football team, and they both wind up getting stranded at the college because I think the airport's like snowed in or something, so they can't go home for Christmas. So they wind up spending Christmas together, and Andy has a little naughty mischief list, a little mischief list to tick off and complete because she's in a little competition with her friends. And so she ticks these things off with Porter and one of his friends naturally, and yeah, it was really good. It was such a fun time, but I definitely recommend it if you're after a little bit of a shorter Christmassy read. Christmas in February, as you do. These next 2 books are part of another series. The first one, I keep banging on about age gaps, but I apparently am not learning my lesson. The first one I have is Welcome to the Dark Side by Gianna Darling. This is probably the biggest age gap I have in my collection. No, that's a lie. I have Hush Hush by Lucia Franco, but this one takes place between a minor, a 17-year-old girl, and I think Zeus is like in his 30s. It's uncomfy. I don't love that aspect. I'm just pretending she's 18 because there's no reason she's not 18, so she should be 18. Anyway, this book takes place from when Lulu is like 7 years old. Zeus essentially saves her life, I think, and he ends up going to prison, and Lulu also has cancer, and they kind of become pen pals while she's in hospital and he's in prison, which I quite enjoyed that aspect of the book. It's told like through their letters to each other. I really liked that. However, when Zeus gets out, and I've not finished reading this book, I'm like that far in, when Zeus gets out, things get a little, Lulu's kind of like gone off the rails a little bit. Not even gone off the rails, she's just being a little bit rebellious because she's very much a goody two shoes. Not really read that much more in this book. It's okay. I quite enjoy Gianna's writing. It's a little bit difficult to follow sometimes, but it's still good. I just don't love the age gap. Like I don't know why I keep doing this to myself. I kind of want to do a video where I read books that make me uncomfortable, so maybe this one will be in there. Yeah, Mayfly will probably be in there too, to be fair. So So let me know if you want to see that video. The next book I have is also part of the Fallen Men series by Gianna Darling, but it's not the next in the series. This is Dead Man Walking by Gianna Darling. I bought this book purely because of the cover. So I have read Lessons in Corruption by Gianna. It was okay, it was fine. There were 2 consenting adults, which was nice. Anyway, one of my friends has read like almost the majority of this series. I think she's up to Inked in Lies. She's started reading this series and she was like going on and on about it to me, and she was like, you really need to read the series, and I was like, girl, I really need to read the series. So I decided that I would read the series when I get my Kindle. However, I couldn't wait, but I bought this one because of the cover, and it's also a serial killer romance. Don't really know much else about what happens in it, but I think he's sort of like the MC's enforcer kind of guy. He's like the one that gets his hands dirty. I'm excited to read it. I love the cover. Hopefully I enjoy the book as well. The next book is my last Devney Perry for this haul. This is Steel King. This was my Christmas present from Bestie KC. This is another motorcycle romance. This is Devney's Clifton Forge series. I've not actually read this book yet, but I've heard some very, very good things. I don't even really know what it's about. I think it's sort of like small town motorcycle romance, which is fun. But typical Devney, I'm pretty sure this one has a little bit of a murder thriller aspect to it as well. She loves her romantic suspense and I love them as well. So I'm very, very excited to read this one. I love the cover. I think it's so just like, I don't know, it doesn't really look like a romance. It kind of looks like a apocalyptic crime mystery kind of thing maybe. And finally, we're going into the rest of my Christmas books. I left these ones to last because I've already kind of talked about them in my Christmas haul, but we'll go over them again. The first one I have for you is Stuck Up and Stupid by Angerie Rice and Katie Rice. I'm not really sure how to pronounce the first lady's name, but this one is, I think, a little bit of a Jane Austen retelling. It is obviously going to be a rom-com. I don't love rom-coms, but this one sounds fun. It's from my sister, who is like an editor, so I trust her opinion so much. The next book I have is The Sunday Girl by Pip Drysdale. I believe she wrote The Girl on the Train. I have that book out on my parents' bookshelves. I haven't read it. Anyway, this one I believe is another like thriller sort of thing, a story of revenge. I'm very, very excited to read this one. It's such a cool cover as well. I really like it. Then the next one I have is Lonely Castle in the Mirror. From memory, I said this one was like a fantasy. Oh, sorry, I'm so sweaty. I said this one was sort of like a fantasy, but it is not that whatsoever. I think it's more like a fiction where there's a bunch of kids who enter a mirror and get like stuck in a castle, I think, and they have to exit the mirror at a certain time each day, but they get stuck. It's a very, very interesting premise, and I think it'll be pretty good. It says there's a lot of like struggles with emotional boundaries, misunderstanding and loneliness, and friendship and empathy and sacrifice. So it sounds very interesting. I definitely want to read this one eventually. I don't know, I think it'll be fun. It's definitely out of my comfort zone, so maybe I'll read it in that sort of video. And finally, we have Angel's Blood by Nalini Singh. I had this one in my February TBR. I don't think I'm gonna get to it. I'm not gonna lie, I don't think I'm gonna get to it. But this one is a vampire hunter romance. I believe the female main character is the vampire hunter, which is so fun, and I think our love interest is a vampire, or is he another vampire hunter? I've got no idea. It sounds like it'll be like a little bit trashy, but I think it's gonna be fun. So I really want to dedicate a day to just like sitting down and reading this book, because I think it'll be very fun, a bit of a wild ride. And yeah, I just feel like I need to be like fully immersed to enjoy it. But yeah, there we have my entire book haul for the start of 2024. The colors of all these books together, I don't know why, they just all look so beautiful together. But I really hope you guys have enjoyed watching today's video. It was a little bit of a chaotic one, but I had a good time regardless. I love filming book hauls. I love going through all the books that I've accumulated. It's just a really nice way for me to tell you about the books, some of the books that I've been loving recently, and also show you some of the new additions to my TBR. Definitely comment down below if you've read any of these books, if you love them, if you hated them. I want to hear it all. And yeah, once again, thank you so much for watching. I really hope you enjoyed. If you did, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. Follow my Bookstagram, which is always linked in the description. My Goodreads is always linked down there as well if you want to follow me, be friends with me, keep up with my reviews and what I'm reading. And yeah, thanks so much for watching for like the 3rd time. I really hope you had a good time, and I will hopefully see you in the next one. Bye!